Good morning, good afternoon, geeks and gamers of all kinds. I am Shill, and I have the pleasure of being joined with
Dax
and MikeBundy.
And guys, I am back after my short hiatus. I had a child. I don't know if you guys know that or not. Good jokes.
But we left it up to you to tell them about it.
Oh, it's the best thing in the world, and I absolutely love it. But I'm happy to be back, and we are going to be covering a pretty big news story today. So this is one of the things about the Nintendo Switch Online service that people have really criticized is that there's just a lack of games on it, right? There are NES games, some really great ones like Mario 3 and Dr. Mario is my personal favorites. The original Metroid is now on it, but it just feels like it's lacking content. Well, people are constantly keeping an eye on the service and the games that are available, and data miners have recently found code that suggests that there are 22, I believe, Super Nintendo games coming to the Nintendo Switch Online service.
Yeah.
One can only hope.
Right? That would be incredible because, I mean, for $20 a year, you get access to all of that online multiplayer content. You can play Smash Brothers and trade Pokemon, and you can play Mario Kart and Splatoon. Like that, $20 a year for just that service is a pretty good deal. But then they toss in these games, and if you have access to these 22 games, in addition to the NES titles that are already out there, man, this thing is looking even better.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go down the list, and we'll dive into the subject matter and what our opinions on these games are. But the games that were listed were Super Mario Kart, Super Soccer, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, Demon's Crest, Yoshi's Island, Stunt Race FX, Kirby's Dream Course, Pop and Twinbee. I have no idea what that game is, by the way.
Nope.
Star Fox, Contra 3, Kirby Superstar, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Super Metroid, Super Mario World, Pilot Wings, F-Zero, Star Fox 2, Super Punch-Out, The Legend of Mystical Ninja, Breath of Fire 2, and Super Mario All-Stars. I'm going to let you go first. Dak, tell us your opinion.
Well, let me just, you're the one who read off the list, and I'm winded just by, hearing all those names. Because, again, don't get me wrong, like the list, the length of the list is very impressive because Nintendo just released 2 games. One was, I believe, a Zelda game, and the other one was, I can't even think of it at the top of my head, but they just released them. So, the games coming out for it have been somewhat slow and steady. And
I agree.
And like you said, Shill, a lot of people are out there criticizing, Nintendo's new online service. Hey, at least they're doing it. You know what I mean?
True.
Nintendo in the past would have steered completely away from this idea, but now they're doing something at least. The first thing that catches my eye, all honesty, and I didn't catch it until you read it off, and that's Super Mario All-Stars. Again, there's a lot of nostalgia. Nostalgia sells. Nintendo knows that. We know that. Super Mario All-Stars is a game that I'm looking forward to because I do love the display of the array, the broad selection of Super Mario games. I don't think no one can ever say there's too many Super Mario games. Pop and Tweenbee, yeah, I'm concerned too. What is that?
All right, hold on.
Right? I have no idea.
I got the info. Because I got a laptop right in front of me. Now, this actually looks pretty cool, to be honest with you. It's a, I guess what you call a shooter, not a first-person shooter, but a shooter. Where you're in a ship, you're going back and forth on the screen shooting stuff. Mm-hmm. That's what I've gotten out of it. The cover art looks pretty cool. So, I'll take it. I'll try it out,
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, and for those of you who already have like gotten an NES Classic, I mean, a lot of these games were on that console, and and we roughly got the same amount of games, except now we got some different games, new games. But cutting to the chase, I kind of want to wait to go in depth on anything, but Breath of the Fire 2 is probably the game that I'm looking forward to the most. And reason being is because besides the fact that it's a nostalgic RPG that I love and that I've watched my oldest brother play while filling up a spittoon of snuff spit into a whole liter bottle. But that's what I remember when I see this game. It's like, oh yeah, my brother's sitting down.
Weird nostalgic moment.
And he's going hardcore at this RPG, building his characters, developing them, and then every minute he spits into a spittoon. Oh, it's disgusting. But besides that, the reason why I'm so excited about this is because of who the developer is of this game, and that's Capcom. So that says to me that they're going to start bringing in third-party titles.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is Excitebike not a third-party title? Like, are there not third-party ones on the NES Classic now, or the Switch Nintendo service now?
I mean, on the SNES Classic itself, it's mostly, I think there's maybe one or two. You have Final Fantasy, developed by Square Enix, whatever. And I'm trying to think of another one, but it's very few, very, very few. And I mean, it makes sense that, yeah, this is the Nintendo console, and well, we're going to put most of the games on it are going to be our own games. But
right.
I mean, when you first release something like that, I mean, the first thing that came to my mind is, okay, are we just expecting, well, I mean, with the SNES, it's whatever we got, that's what we got. But when it comes to this Nintendo subscription and a majority of the games that they, put out there for us to, enjoy, a majority of them are Nintendo. So the first thing that come to mind, of course, is, well, what is this mostly what we're going to see is just their own games so that they perhaps maybe don't have to, face any copyrights or any licenses that they have to repurchase or anything like that. I'm going to keep going up and down this list. I'm going to pass the ball to one of you guys, whoever wants to take it, and I'm going to see if any of these other games are developed by anyone else.
Yeah, MikeBundy, how do you feel about the list overall?
Well, I just want to go into the biggest one. I think is the Super Mario All-Stars. Now, I know Bud already talked about that, but for me, looking back on it, it's mostly this is where the nostalgia is for me for Mario. I've said numerous times to both of you guys, when I think of Mario 3, this is the one I think of. It's not.
Okay, yeah, right. I agree. Yeah.
It's just so much better looking. So I don't know. Everything's reskinned. So 1, 2, and 3 are all reskinned. It also has the actual
2 reskinned on that as well.
Yes, everything's
reskinned.
Really?
I don't recall that. I'll have to take a look.
Yeah, I got it on my Snes Classic. Wink, wink.
As do I.
But that's amazing. When you sent me the list, all I saw was the first one. I didn't see the little second tweet there with the 5 other games. So when you read that off, I'm like, wait, did you really just say that? Oh, dude, if we can play that online,
yeah, that's gonna be.
I'll pay $20 a year for that game alone.
These games are playable online. That's something that we haven't really touched on either, right? But for me, it is also. I'll throw in Super Mario All-Stars, obviously. Link to the Past, Yoshi's Island, and Kirby's Dream Land 3 are where it's at for me. Super Mario World, obviously, as well. Online F-Zero. right?
I mean,
Like,
I've never even
wow.
played F-Zero, so like I don't know, but
yeah. So these games are gonna have the online compatibility, which Mike and I have played a few times back and forth playing Mario 3 together. But
mhm.
like this is gonna be something that is gonna be so neat to hop in and play an F-Zero title online. It's unprecedented, right?
Mhm.
So
Yep.
from a standpoint of that, most of these are released on the SNES Classic. I think we've got to look at it from a perspective of the market
Mhm.
that they're targeting with the SNES Classic. I mean, were they truly targeting Switch owners with that console? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe that wasn't the target, the demographic they had in mind. That's who bought them, obviously,
I
and
don't
then
think it
there's
was
thousands of
targeted.
other people.
It wasn't targeted at all to the current generation of gamers. I don't think,
Yeah,
because working in retail, like I had a guy the other night. He was looking at. He's like, well, I just want to know what games are on. I'm like, well, I can't rattle them off, so I got it out of the cage for him and let him look at the back of it. And he's like, boy, these games kind of suck. I'm like,
yeah, right.
you know, we all know that debacle, but it's it's just it's targeted towards people that aren't really still into gaming. It's more of a nostalgia trip.
Right.
So yeah.
So a lot of people didn't end up getting SNES Classics because of the shortage of them. I know they
Right.
did the second run, but they didn't really market it real hard, and like it's out there, and you could still get them if you went to GameStop now. But it's like it's still one of those things that isn't really like on people's radar at this point.
Yeah.
But like to have all of these games as a Switch owner. And, to me, it just sells their online service a little bit better.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, it's one of those things that I think it desperately needs to
Mhm.
be on the Switch. I think this solves a serious problem that they have selling memberships, maybe. But, like,
Which is still kind of crazy to me, because as a person who has both Xbox and PS4, paying that $60 is just ridiculous. I
agree.
I don't even want to do it. Like, mine runs out next month for Xbox. I play on it quite a bit. Play Call of Duty. We were playing Halo the other night. Like, I play online, but I don't know. I do not want to pay that $60. Like, it's killer. And the people that are complaining about Nintendo's being $20 for a year and we're not getting anything with it, you know what? Well, you're getting the online service for, a third of the
price
cost.
of everybody's else is right. I
Yeah.
mean, the biggest complaint has always just been voice chat.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's no effective voice chat on the console, and that, like, and we know it's capable of doing it because you can plug a microphone into your headphone jack and talk with people on Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like, Fortnite has voice chat across the Switch, and it doesn't make any sense
I
that
mean,
the console doesn't support it.
even if they had to develop the game to have it, like,
right?
Like, maybe there's no way to have a voice app on the Switch, like, running in the background. Like, maybe it's not capable of that. I don't know.
Oh man,
it good enough technology wise, but even if it was built into the games, per each game, I that would be fine.
It's depressing. Like, we've touched on this topic.
I know, so many times.
Here and there, so many times. And I mean, Shill has he's correct. I mean, look how so simple Fortnite itself, where you can just plug, your own headset jack and then just go off and, carry on a conversation, carry off tactics with other players that you're playing this game with. And is this where Nintendo Nintendo's ego, as much as we love this company and as great as they're doing, is this like their ego getting in the way? Is this where they don't want to accept that?
No, I just don't think they
fail?
know how to integrate it with their current system. That's my guess.
Well, no, and don't get me wrong. I think I understand the whole your cell phone is the hot spot and you're on the go. That's great. That's fine. But there should be an option when you are at home. And I don't mean to sound like a broken record because, again, we've touched on this time and time again. But Nintendo, please, for the love of God, just make it so that whenever we are in our own homes, that there's already a built-in app at home. So we don't have to mess around with two different separate wires and, your cell phone. We're on our cell phone enough.
Again, like, as much as I agree, I also think that's why they're doing it, because they're like, well, you're already on your cell phone.
Yeah, true.
Like, I'm just playing devil's advocate, I guess, but like,
I agree. Yeah.
I don't know.
So anyway, Discord.
Yeah, Discord.
Yeah, Discord's cool. Shout out to Discord.
Right. So, I mean, that's pretty much. Like I said, I'm most excited because I'm definitely gonna play Kirby's Dream Land, like no other. Like that's totally where it is for me.
Is that like a multiplayer game?
No, not Dream Land.
Okay.
How do you guys think they'll drop this? You think it'll be at a Nintendo Direct? They'll be like, oh, here's 10 of them, or here's all 22, or
Well, I definitely think it'll be spaced out, kind of like what they're doing now. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But like, the first batch or whatever better have all stars.
I agree. I agree. Because especially since they don't have Mario 2 on the console right now.
Yeah.
Like Mario 2 is not playable on the service. So like that would be a really great drop. Because technically you'd be getting, I mean, you're getting 2 games with that, 2 additional games with that one. Because it's 4 games, but 2 of them are already on the console in the older graphic style.
And I always have to remind myself that All Stars doesn't technically include World.
Yeah. But
because I had the cartridge that had both,
Right.
Which is the one I have on the SNES Classic. But
as do I.
Dude, it not? Is it like? I'm sorry to intervene, but isn't it nuts that some of these games are 27 to 29 years old?
Yeah. Well,
and we're talking about them today, and we still salivate over playing them.
That's because that's the telltale sign of a good game. Like,
and a big part of it is what we grew up with. Like, I mean, 2 days ago I had my 29th birthday, and family wasn't like rich or anything, so what I got was these kinds of games.
Mm-hmm.
When I was old enough, so I was always behind.
I mean, I'm trying to look at some other games here. I mean, Super Metroid is one that I haven't lived. I have not lived, MikeBundy. I have not lived. Oh
my goodness!
I know.
If there's one thing with the SNES Classic, when I think I got mine. Yeah, I got mine first, and I brought it down to your house, Shill. That's what we turned on, and
that's what we played first.
And we had never played it, either of us. So, and I mean, we were in love with it. I still haven't, gotten very far in it, but if we had the capability of playing online and switching the controller back and forth, kind of like what we were doing in person,
right?
Which we could just do it in person again, but just the convenience of doing it online, like that would be awesome as well.
I'm thrown off a little bit. I thought Super Mario World was already released on it.
No, that's a
Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, it's only NES games.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep.
True.
Yep. So, yeah, that pretty much covers that.
Yep.
I mean, speaking of data miners and stuff that they've uncovered, they supposedly also uncovered two possible classic game consoles coming out soon, and that would be the N64. And don't know if you guys
we
brought
talked
up on
about
that.
Yeah, I don't think.
I mean,
don't
this
think that's gonna be
six.
something. Pretty much shut that idea down.
Really?
Yeah, dude. In a public thing, he's like, "Yeah, we have no plans to do that."
Huh.
Yeah,
And you
he
know
said
what?
that.
I think Reggie's full of crap.
I don't
Like-
know. I feel like he's pretty honest with people.
Oh, I think he is too, but I think I'm gonna use a wrestling reference. But look at Chris Jericho. Like, that guy tells people one thing, straight up lies to their face, and then he ends up doing the thing
I mean,
that,
that's valid, and there's definitely PR speak sometimes.
hmm
Like, there's definitely PR speak, but like, I think there are levels to it, right? Like, if they have something like that is, a plan, and they're trying to negate people from thinking it, but still trying to do their own little hype marketing thing, they'll be like, yeah, it's a really great idea, and something to that extent would be really nice.
Mhm.
And it would be really neat to have all of these game consoles come to, all of these classics and to make their home. But then there's another version of PR speak where they literally are just trying to squash a rumor.
Yeah.
And it's right where Reggie went.
Hmm.
He's like, no, we're not doing that.
You know what? I mean, obviously Reggie knows more than any of us, of course. I think this is something that will come out. It just won't come out so soon. I could see a N64 classic coming out in no less than 2 years.
I would love to see one.
No less
however,
than.
I would rather just have those games on.
Yeah, so would I.
Yeah.
And you know what? And maybe then you gotta think Nintendo though.
I would pay the money if they put on, like, if they worked something out with Microsoft and Rare to put Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Kazooie and, all of those, like, Rare Replay got ported to the Switch, or even, even they did an N64 Classic with these Rare games. Like, I would buy that on the Switch in a heartbeat. But I'm more hopeful, and this is where I genuinely think the direction's going. I'm more hopeful that we get an announcement of Rare Replay on the Switch. I think that's more possible than a Nintendo 64 Classic.
A what replay?
Rare Replay.
The
game for the Xbox One, where it has all of the Rare games on it, Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Battletoads, all of that stuff. I think we're more likely to get that game ported to the Switch than we are to get a Nintendo 64 Classic.
Conker's Bad Fur Day was on that?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Conker's Bad Fur Day is on.
See,
Rare
own
Replay
that.
was an incredible game.
See, it makes me wonder though, because I mean, from a business perspective, I mean, look at the success. I don't know the units at the top of my head of what the NES and the SNES has sold, but in a way, you would think that Nintendo certainly actually go ahead and then put out those classic consoles, and then later down the road, a year down the road, put some of those same games, or just put that, those consoles games onto the Switch market, because I mean, right there, they would be making more money, clearly.
Yeah, and that's why I don't know why they haven't done what they did with the Wii U, where you can buy those classic games. Like they had everything.
The virtual console.
Yeah, they had everything from NES all the way up until Wii. Like, if they would,
I mean, in my opinion, I think it's better for the consumer to purchase them. Whatever. I mean, I think the price point was a little steep, but like, they're trying to get into the games as a service, and if you can have like a Netflix like service with tons of games on it and then advertise someone to pay a monthly subscription to do it, man, making them money. Like more and more people. I mean, we see it across other industries too, right? Like with Apple's abysmal sales that happen, they're trying to step more into like the service, the services that they provide, like Apple Music and Apple TV and other things that they're doing in that direction to try to make up for revenue, because there's huge money in it.
Yeah.
So that's, and it's unfortunate that it's relatively anti-consumer, but like at the same time, you could be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to play any of these games this month. I'll just cancel this.
Yeah, like Game Pass.
Right, like Game Pass. Exactly like Game Pass. And that's 100% where I think Microsoft's heading too, right? Like I think what they're doing with Game Pass is going to far exceed anything that they can do with consoles. Like, I don't know if you guys are tuned into what they're doing with Project xCloud. I don't know if you guys even know what that is.
Enlighten me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Project xCloud is this service that they're building that is going to have Game Pass connected to it. And you're going to be able to pay for Game Pass and download an app on your PC, your Xbox, or your mobile phone and play any of the games on XPass or on Game Pass for that subscription price with your Xbox login. All of the computing, all of the processing power takes place in the cloud, in server farms in California or wherever they're putting them, right? Wherever Azure currently is, which is their cloud computing, engine right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Azure. It's a tech thing. People use Azure to host Microsoft Outlook servers and stuff on Citrix and all kinds of crazy awesome stuff that happens in the business world that gamers don't even relatively know about sometimes. But so they're building this service using Azure, and they've got server trays that are basically just Xboxes, huge Xboxes that are in this server farm. And like I said, you're going to be able to download an app on your smartphone and play Forza in 4K, right? Depending on how good your streaming internet service is. Which, it's going to be better in cities. It's going to be harder in rural areas. It's going to depend on bandwidth for consumers as to whether or not they buy this service. However, I think it's going to be incredible for gamers in the long run, because you're going to have access to so many, like an unbelievable amount of library. It's going to be Netflix of gaming. And I think that Microsoft recognizes that and is focusing solely on building that. And they're not worried about the console game anymore.
And you're not wrong. I mean, Sony already has that, and it doesn't do well, from what I understand.
Well, there's nothing, but from what I know is that
it's
they
expensive.
don't have the game bit. Right, it's expensive, and the games aren't worth playing. From what I understand, it's not a huge library, is it?
I mean, I don't know what's even on there, because I don't they don't really tell you unless
now,
you.
Right?
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what's on
tell
there.
you what's on it unless you have it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not like Game Pass where you can go look and see what's on it, unless you can. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I know you guys don't know. But I just mean to the listener, I don't know.
So I think it's really neat what they're doing. They claim that they have it working. They have a video. You can Google it. There's a thing. It's called Project xCloud. There's this whole big video. Which really begs the question: is this the direction everyone's going to go in? Right? Because we had Dax before we started talking, and we weren't sure we're going to even talk about this, but. Then Nintendo's president said the little bit of comments that he had about whether or not they'll stay in the console business, right? And like people are twisting that. I said this when we were chatting, to fit whatever story or clickbaity headline that they want to have. But he said as long as people are buying hardware, that they'll stay in the hardware business. And if people move away from hardware, they'll just go into just a software business, right? And that's kind of what he said. And people are
and Switch owners. I don't know numbers, but I'm pretty sure a large majority of them do buy physical.
Really?
As far as, I mean, I know a lot of YouTubers do. I don't I don't have numbers, but from what I know, their hardware does pretty well.
Okay. Well, I'm speaking specifically about the console itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I'm talking about hardware, because your game would just be a software situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo has everything there. And I mean, so does the Xbox for sure. I mean, it's all there pretty much for, are we going into a generation of just cloud-based download games?
I think yes.
Yeah, I think it's obviously there. It's already started. Me personally, as a person, I do like the physical game. If you think about it, it does business for other businesses is if it's for a physical copy of the game, because you think, well, they must have to purchase the Blu-rays, they have to purchase these cartridges from somebody, right. So that's another reason why I am a supporter for actual physical copies of games, and I'm sure collectors would say the same exact thing. They would prefer having that physical copies of. I mean, right now I own a few games in just software, just downloaded games. Yeah, just digital. And I mean, to this day, my copy of Resident Evil 7 on the PS4 is a digital copy. And the only reason why I did that was because I didn't think that the hard drive in my PS4 could, just keep the disc in, because it was having this disc eject problem. That's not the case anymore. But I'm a guy who likes the physical copy and whatnot, but more so just because I like it and I enjoy having that physical copy there, especially for and I mean, I can talk, for, even though I'm not a big game collector, I can speak for the game collectors out there. They want the physical thing, but I think we're going to see a new age of, where we see the physical copy starting to go away, and that we're just going to be digital, because you know why? Because a lot of stuff is going to be on the go, and the Switch has really pushed that, with its release. And the PS5, I mean, you hear rumors, is it going to be another on-the-go device in somehow, some way, some capability? Maybe.
USB-C can do it all, baby.
Exactly. It absolutely
can. And that's what the port is on the bottom of the Switch. Like, dude, we're getting to an era where you're going to be able to take your phone and turn it into a gaming console. I mean, Apple already does that, right? That's why their phones continue to get more expensive and higher processors and stuff like that, is because they're just basically building gaming consoles on them. Like,
yeah.
And see,
better screens.
That's where I can see maybe, the PS5, whenever that may come out, 2020, 2021, where maybe they make a actual PlayStation controller and it can hinge onto and latch onto your cell phone, so that you can play this game on the go.
Oh boy, here we go. We're going to start talking about the PlayStation phone again.
Dude, that thing was awesome, man. I had that. I had Crash Bandicoot on my phone.
Yeah.
Wait. Sony had a phone?
Oh my god, dude.
Well, Sony
had a controller. I forgot.
They make the experience, but yeah, they had a PlayStation phone. It was way ahead of its time.
It was.
Dude, I completely forgot about that thing.
It had a Spider-Man game on it as well that I bought. I didn't buy a lot of games, but Crash Bandicoot came on it, the first one.
Yeah.
It was, you could download, I had that was my
first.
Boy. That was my first experience with emulation. I had a bunch of Game Boy emulators on there and stuff. You know, it was
because you could
cool.
root it and put whatever you want.
Yeah, I wish I could find that. I don't know whatever happened to it, to be honest, but it's probably worth money now.
Probably.
I remember there was another cell phone that was console.
Well, there was the Nokia whatever, I forget. It was an actual game console / phone. Those things are worth like a couple $100.
Yep.
Crazy.
Here's the question. Here's the question that I wanted to pose to you guys. We'll end with this. And it'll be probably pretty quick. Because with we were looking online for some news and stuff here beforehand. And let me tell you, I am tired. I am sick and tired of all these stories about, the PS5, when's it coming? And, what's Xbox's new console, blah, blah. It's like, I mean, I understand with history, most game consoles have like 5 years on average. The PS3 and the Xbox 360 were actually the only exception to the 5-year rule, basically. They had like 10 years. But
right.
I guess my question to you guys is it too soon? Am I just being a whatever lousy consumer? Like, is it just the fact that I don't want to buy these systems already?
So, Dax, go ahead.
Let me say this much. It's not going to happen anytime soon. I mean, a lot of buzz is coming out about a PS5 and, its specs and what it could be capable of and how it could rival the Nintendo Switch and its portability. But in all honesty, I think you as a consumer, me as a consumer, I don't think we have to worry about this for a while. Not for a while at all, because the PS4 is still doing fantastic on sales. It has a great array of exclusive games that are coming out here. And I think this year coming up is going to be the biggest year for the PS4. Mark my words. I mean, between Metro Exodus, which that's not a exclusive, but it's a big, huge game, and more people own a PS4 rather than an Xbox One. But you're looking at Death Stranding, an exclusive. You're looking at Days Gone. I'm trying to think of some others at the top of my head.
I mean, it doesn't have a release date, but Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, that's the big one. That's the one I was looking for at the tip of my tongue. Like, it has such a great selection of games out on it right now. Do I think their PS store, their subscription on, playing older games is as big or as popular as Xbox? No, absolutely not. But that's there. It's still hot. It's doing great. And again, I can't express enough. You got some great games coming out, and the technology behind the PS4, its specs, everything. It's still a fantastic console. I don't see why they would cut so short when they could be making more money. They could be getting more of their bucks worth.
I agree with you. I think that it is right on track to become the best-selling game console of all time. And I think that if they introduced a new console generation at this point this year, I think that they would be hurting setting that record.
Yeah, it's just about, I think, roughly 10 million away from being number 3 in all-time sales. And, like, number 1 and 2 are, like, I forget, something crazy.
PlayStation 2?
Yep,
and the
PlayStation
Nintendo...
1.
Oh, I was going to say the Nintendo Wii.
No, the Wii is 3 right now, and it's about to pass that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I do believe it was the PS1 and the PS2. I think PS2 has to be higher than PS1 because that thing sold like crazy. But anyway.
PS2 is number 1.
Yeah, has to be.
Yeah.
And what, Wii's number 2?
PS1, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know where to
I'm
get
not
that
sure.
list. Yeah.
It's on Wikipedia. I know we can talk about it. We can dive into that after we're done here. So anyway, well, guys, thanks for listening and engaging in the conversation with us. What do you guys think of games as a service? What do you guys think of the 22 games that are going to get added to the Nintendo Switch Online service? Let us know. Hop in our Discord. The link will be in the show notes. You can engage with each of us individually through our Twitter accounts. Dax, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Daximunder, DAXIMUNDER.
Mike Bundy, where can they find you?
Well, someday I'll remember how to spell Daximunder, but not today. You can find me on Twitter at MikeBundy316, on Instagram at MikeBundy316, and on YouTube at Geek Tavern Gaming. Shill, where can they find you?
And you guys can follow me on Twitter at Shill_DS. And it's also on Instagram at Shill_DS. Take a couple looks at those baby pictures I posted.
Yeah.
One question, Shill. Is she gonna become a gamer like her dad?
Oh, well, I mean, Pokemon.
That's right.
Pokemon is life. So.
It's just going to be Animal Crossing and Pokemon forever.
That's it. Those are going to be her franchises. The wife is Animal Crossing. I'm back into Pocket Camp. My goodness. That's a little hint at the what are you buying, what are you selling episode we plan on doing. Man, I have so many games to talk about.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one, to be honest.
That'll be next week, right?
Yep, next week. Once again, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you head on out there and press start and keep on gaming.